As far as organisms adapted to live in the nether, few are more cunning and nuanced than the piglins. Though they lack the same heat resistance as many of the dimension's other denizens, they more than make up for it with their society and the multitude of advantages this brings. That being said, the species could certainly improve in a lot of ways. This video will be my opinion on how these beings could further evolve. Before we start speculating on how they might adapt further to their home, let's talk about a few of the already present traits that allow these beings to weather the intense dimension of the nether. Firstly, the snout of the piglins is large and fleshy, and while not directly shown, we can speculate that the nether is incredibly dry. This feature of piglin biology allows the moisturization of air. Another noticeable feature is the long ears on these beings. Similarly to real-life desert hares, this adaptation allows piglins to vent excess body heat through thin blood vessels that permeate this organ. Lastly, the eyes of the piglin are beady as a way to retain moisture and prevent them from drying out. I could go on about how their society also has a massive impact on their biological adaptations. However, peeling back the intricacies of such a topic would take too long, so I will merely continue with the video. Resources are scarce in the nether, and while society has certainly helped out with the issue, in many ways it also exacerbates it. Seeing as piglins and humans both have similar minds, we can assume that they both require large amounts of fuel, further increasing the problem. Natural selection ultimately favors which organism can reproduce the most, and seeing as intelligence does not necessarily mean a larger, more stable population, we might see piglins become simpler beings, perhaps even becoming solitary altogether. Although this is less likely due to the fact that being a pack animal does help out with reproduction. This does not mean that piglins will completely lose their keen minds and the fruits this has brought them, however it is likely to see the shedding of many harmful and perhaps even useful traits. Yet I still suspect that things such as pack hunting and tool use will be of too much importance to the survival of the species to be selected against. At the end of the day, I think they will become similar to the hoglins, which already share a striking resemblance to their civilized counterparts, suggesting that maybe for a few members of the piglin species, this transition has already occurred. For a species that lives in an environment as fiery as the nether, they seem to lack a defining characteristic that the other denizens of this dimension possess: fire immunity. This could be for a myriad of reasons, but the main issue here is whether or not they could evolve these defenses. While this is possible, evolution tends to change pre-existing traits instead of generating completely new ones. Piglins could certainly adapt better against the fires of their home dimension, but true immunity might forever be out of their grasp. Most likely already possessing thick skin, this useful trait gets enhanced as time goes on, also aiding in defenses against other dangers. However, we would be wrong if we didn't mention the massive role civilization plays with these beings. There are two very distinct types of piglin, and while these differences could be explained away as simple nutritional differences that come from societal class, the sheer physical gulf suggested something far more genetic. It may be entirely possible to see this species eventually split into two distinct varieties. Lastly, potentially the most exciting thing about piglins would be them reaching a point where they can begin to control their own evolution through the use of genetics or even cybernetic enhancements. If they get to this point, the possibilities are quite literally limitless. Of course, this is all just speculation in the world of Minecraft. As fast and interesting as it is definitely not predictable. So it would be helpful to us all if we remember that there are far more possibilities to explore.